Hi, I'm Dahlia. 6 months pregnant and working as a nurse at Memorial Hospital when my world collapsed around me. I never thought my fiance Marcus would betray me in the worst possible way. Babe, I'm heading to my mom's for dinner. You sure you don't want to come? Marcus leaned against our bedroom doorway, keys jingling in his hand. I rubbed my swollen belly, feeling a small kick. Your mom's been acting weird lately. Always asking about our financial situation and making those comments about how expensive babies are. She's just concerned, Marcus said, not meeting my eyes. You're overthinking. Last week she asked if we'd considered other options for the baby. What does that even mean? Marcus shrugged. You know how she is, always thinking 10 steps ahead. 10 steps ahead to what exactly? It creeped me out. I'll be back by 9, he said, quickly changing the subject. Love you. After he left, my phone buzzed with a text from Eleanor, my best friend since nursing school. Need to see you ASAP. Coffee shop on 5th and 30? At the coffee shop, Eleanor's face was tense, her fingers drumming against her mug. What's going on? You look like you've seen a ghost, I said, lowering myself into the chair. I overheard something at the salon today. Rita was there with her friend Vivian. Marcus's mom? What about her? Eleanor leaned forward. They were talking about you. About the baby. And? Dahlia, they were discussing money. A lot of money. Something about finding the right buyers. I laughed nervously. Buyers? For what? Rita's always selling something for her charity events. Not charity. Eleanor reached for my hand. They mentioned a couple from Canada. How they're willing to pay 6 figures for a healthy newborn. How Marcus is on board. My stomach dropped. That's ridiculous. You must have misunderstood. I wish I had. Eleanor's voice wavered. Rita said, and I quote, Dahlia doesn't need to know until after the birth. Marcus will handle her. No way. I shook my head vigorously. Marcus would never. Check his phone, Eleanor interrupted. Check his emails. Something, please. That night, while Marcus showered, I did something I'd never done before. I checked his phone. There it was in black and white messages between him and his mother about the arrangement, mentions of the Millers and after-delivery plans. What are you doing with my phone? Marcus stood in the doorway, a towel around his waist, his face darkening when he saw what I was looking at. Who are the Millers, Marcus? My voice was barely a whisper. It's not what you think. Really? Because it looks like you and your mom are planning to sell our baby? Marcus sat beside me, his voice suddenly gentle. Listen, we're drowning in debt. This is a way out. The Millers can't have children. They're good people with money. Our baby isn't a product to sell, I was shouting now, cradling my belly protectively. Be practical, Dahlia. We're talking about giving our child a better life while securing our future. Mom found a lawyer who can make it all legal. I stared at this stranger wearing my fiance's face. You're out of your mind if you think I'm going along with this. You'll understand eventually. His tone changed, colder now. Mom's coming over tomorrow to discuss the details. Just hear us out. After Marcus fell asleep, I called Eleanor, my voice breaking. You were right. They're planning to sell our baby, my own fiancé. Oh, Dahlia, I'm so sorry. What am I going to do? First, you need to gather evidence. Then we're going to stop them. The next morning, I pretended everything was normal, kissing Marcus goodbye as he left for work. The moment the door closed, I started searching our apartment. My phone rang. It was Dr. Wilson, my obstetrician. Dahlia? I'm a bit confused. I received a request to transfer your records to a Dr. Feldman in Toronto. My blood ran cold. I never authorized that. That's what I thought. The request came from your fiancé. I wanted to confirm before proceeding. Please don't transfer anything, I said urgently. And could you note in my file that only I can access my records? Of course. Is everything all right? No, but it will be. Thank you for calling. After hanging up, I called my cousin Jake, a lawyer. They can't legally do this, right? I asked after explaining the situation. What they're planning is definitely illegal, Jake confirmed. But proving intent is tricky. We need more evidence. I have the text messages. Good start. Keep gathering more. Record conversations if you legally can in your state. An hour later, my doorbell rang. Rita stood there with a tall, stern-looking man in an expensive suit. Dahlia, dear, this is Mr. Graves, a family attorney. May we come in? I forced a smile, phone recording in my pocket. Of course. Tea? I offered, buying time to calm my nerves. No need, Rita waved dismissively. Let's get to business. Mr. Graves has the paperwork for after the birth. The attorney cleared his throat. These are preliminary adoption consent forms. Nothing binding yet, of course. Adoption? I echoed innocently. Well, private adoption, Rita clarified. The Millers are very generous people. How generous exactly? I asked, watching Rita's eyes light up. $200,000 with all your medical expenses covered, she said eagerly. Think about it, Dahlia. Your student loan's gone overnight. And Marcus agrees with this plan? It was practically his idea, Rita laughed. He knows you two aren't ready for parenthood. I see. I glanced at the papers without touching them. And when were you planning to discuss this with me? Mr. Graves looked uncomfortable. Usually both birth parents are present for these discussions. Marcus thought it best to get everything arranged first, Rita interjected. He worried you might be emotional. After they left, I called Eleanor immediately. They just offered me $200,000 for my baby. Those monsters, Eleanor gasped. What are you going to do? I'm meeting with Marcus's friend Chris tonight. If anyone knows more, it's him. At a quiet diner, Chris fidgeted nervously across from me. I can't believe Marcus pulled me into this, he muttered. He swore you were on board. Did he tell you they're planning to take my baby to Canada? Chris looked stunned. What? No! He said you two were considering adoption because of your financial situation. They're selling my baby, Chris. For money. That can't be right. Marcus wouldn't... I saw the messages myself, I interrupted. He and Rita have been planning this for months. They've already contacted buyers. Buyers? Chris paled. He told me it was a standard adoption. Nothing about this is standard. They're going behind my back, making decisions about my child. Chris ran a hand through his hair. Man, I knew Rita was controlling, but this is criminal. I need your help, Chris. I need to know who else is involved. Marcus mentioned his mom's friend Vivian connecting them with the Millers. She runs some kind of consulting business for wealthy clients. Later that night, Eleanor and I sat with Jake at his apartment, formulating a plan. We need to catch them in the act, Jake said. Get them to explicitly state their intentions. I have an idea. Eleanor leaned forward, determination in her eyes. But you'll have to confront them, Dahlia. All of them together. I'm ready, I said, my hand resting on my belly. Nobody's taking my baby. 2 days later, I sat in our living room, facing Marcus, Rita, Mr. Graves, and a well-dressed couple I assumed were the Millers. Eleanor and Jake waited in the bedroom, recording everything. Thank you all for coming, I began pleasantly. I wanted to discuss the arrangements for my baby. Mrs. Miller smiled warmly. We're so grateful, Dahlia. You're giving us such a precious gift. Let's clarify exactly what this gift entails, I said. You're paying $200,000, correct? Mr. Graves shifted uncomfortably. We prefer to call it compensation for expenses. What expenses amount to $200,000? I asked innocently. Medical care, loss of work, emotional consideration, Rita listed quickly. All very standard. Is it standard to arrange this without the mother's knowledge? I turned to the Millers. Did you know I only discovered this plan 2 days ago? The couple exchanged alarmed glances. We were told you had agreed, Mr. Miller said slowly. Well, I haven't. I looked directly at Marcus. Did you really think you could sell our child without my consent? Marcus flushed. Don't be dramatic. This is a legitimate adoption. Then why forge my signature on medical release forms? Why the secrecy? Why the rush to get me to sign papers today? Because you're being unreasonable, Rita snapped. You two can barely afford rent. This child deserves better. Better than being treated as a commodity? I shot back. You should be grateful, Rita hissed. The Millers are offering you a way out of poverty. I think we should leave. Mrs. Miller stood abruptly. We were told this was a mutual decision. Please, sit down, Marcus pleaded. Dahlia's just emotional because of the hormones. Don't you dare blame this on hormones, I said coldly. Tell them the truth. Tell them how you planned to pressure me after the birth when I'd be vulnerable. Is this true? Mr. Miller demanded. Mr. Graves gathered his papers. I cannot be part of this. It appears there's been a serious misrepresentation. You're ruining everything, Rita shouted, lunging toward me. After all we've done for you. Marcus grabbed her arm. Mom, stop! You ungrateful little… Rita broke free, pointing her finger in my face. You think you can raise this child alone? We'll take you to court. We'll prove you're an unfit mother. On what grounds? I remained calm. We'll find something, she threatened. Nobody rejects an offer like this. Nobody. Are you threatening me? I asked clearly, making sure the recording would catch her words. It's not a threat. It's a promise, Rita spat. You'll regret this. The Millers backed toward the door, horrified. We want no part of this, Mr. Miller stated firmly. What you're describing sounds like human trafficking, not adoption. It's nothing of the sort, Marcus protested. Dahlia, tell them you're overreacting. Am I overreacting to discovering my fiancé planned to sell our baby behind my back? I was trying to secure our future, Marcus shouted. You think I wanted to do this? Mom convinced me it was the only way. Don't blame me, Rita snapped. This was your idea after I mentioned the Miller situation. As they argued, revealing more details of their plan, Eleanor and Jake emerged from the bedroom. I think we have everything we need, Jake announced, holding up his phone. I'd advise everyone to leave now. Marcus's face drained of color. You recorded us? That's illegal? Actually, in this state, it's perfectly legal to record conversations you're a party to, Jake informed him. And Dahlia was definitely a party to this conversation. You set us up, Rita realized, her eyes narrowing. You set yourselves up, I replied. Now get out of my apartment. This isn't over, Marcus threatened as they left. You'll never manage without me. The next morning, Jake accompanied me to the police station where Detective Jordan took my statement. We see adoption fraud, but this is more elaborate than most, Detective Jordan said, reviewing the evidence. The interstate, or in this case, international element, makes it a federal offense. Will they go to jail? I asked. Based on the recordings and the evidence you've gathered, they'll likely face serious charges. The threats made against you add another layer. After filing the report, I moved in with Eleanor temporarily. 3 days later, Detective Jordan called. We've arrested Rita Williams and your fiancé Marcus. The attorney, Mr. Graves, is cooperating with authorities. And the Millers? They claim they believed it was a legitimate adoption. We're still investigating their involvement. A week later, I sat across from Marcus in the police station's visitor room. Why? I asked simply. We needed the money, he said, not meeting my eyes. Mom said it would solve everything. The Millers could give the baby what we couldn't. That wasn't your decision to make. I know that now. His voice cracked. I'm sorry, Dahlia. I never meant to hurt you. We can still be a family when this is all over. I studied the man I'd thought I would spend my life with. There is no we anymore, Marcus. You were willing to sell our child. It was a mistake. People make mistakes. Some mistakes can't be forgiven. You can't do this alone, he argued desperately. You need me. I'd rather be alone than with someone who sees our baby as a payday. 2 months later, I gave birth to a beautiful baby girl named Maya. Eleanor was by my side instead of Marcus, who was awaiting trial. At Maya's 1-month checkup, Dr. Wilson smiled at us proudly. You're doing wonderfully, both of you. In the waiting room, I ran into Vivian, Rita's friend who had connected them with the Millers. Dahlia, she began awkwardly. Save it, I cut her off. The prosecutors have your name too. I never thought it would go this far, she protested. Rita said it was just helping connect families. For a fee, I added coldly. I've lost my business, my reputation. Isn't that punishment enough? Ask Maya when she's older if she thinks it's enough punishment for trying to sell her. Later that evening, as I rocked Maya to sleep, Chris stopped by with a gift. "Just a little something for the princess," he said, placing a stuffed elephant next to her crib. "Thank you for testifying," I said quietly. "I know it wasn't easy going against your friend." "Some lines you don't cross." Chris gazed at Maya. "She's perfect, Dahlia. You did the right thing." "Some days are harder than others," I admitted. "Single parenthood isn't what I planned." "You've got friends. You're not alone in this." Eleanor joined us, bringing dinner. The prosecutor called. Marcus and Rita took a plea deal. 2 years for Marcus, 4 for Rita. "It doesn't feel like a victory," I sighed. "It's justice," Eleanor corrected. "And more importantly, Maya is safe with her mother, where she belongs." "I keep wondering if I'll ever trust anyone again," I confessed. Chris squeezed my shoulder. "You will. Not everyone is like Marcus and Rita. And in the meantime, you've built something powerful," Eleanor added. "You protected Maya when she couldn't protect herself. That's what being a mother is all about." As my friends chatted around my kitchen table, I held my daughter close, her tiny hand wrapped around my finger. The road ahead wouldn't be easy, but it was ours to travel together. No price tag, no transaction, just love, fierce and uncompromising. What would you do if someone tried to take what matters most to you? Would you have the courage to stand up and fight back, even against the people you thought you could trust?